One of the biggest problems in the AI industry today is people are concerned about the fact that models don't pay for themselves. With LLMs, there has not been any clear monetization structure that has been visualized. However, the model companies themselves are actually not making a whole bunch of money. So this is a very interesting problem. Welcome back to Neural Bridge. I'm your host, Tarush Gupta. And in today's video, we get to talk about one of the most fascinating topics in AI, monetization. As you might have seen recently, both OpenAI and Perplexity enabled payments in their LLM systems. What this means is actually when you go to ChatGPT or if you go to Perplexity and you type in some query and you're, looking to buy something, then OpenAI and Perplexity both have unique shopping situations that they set up with affiliate links. And obviously this is not confirmed yet, but obviously their end goal here is affiliate links, where if let's say I'm shopping for a shirt, right? I can ask, ChatGPT, hey, what are the best brands for shirts? And if ChatGPT has an affiliate link with, let's say, Gap, right? It will say, oh, Gap has a really, really nice cotton shirt that you might like. And as a result of ChatGPT making that advertisement to me, it might get, a little bit of money if you click on ChatGPT's link. So obviously, this is a play eventually at monetization. It may not be a play at monetization just yet, but certainly major AI labs are casting an eye towards this concern. So one of the biggest problems in the AI industry today is people are concerned about the fact that models don't pay for themselves. So with Web 2.0, right, there was a very clear advertisement model. And obviously that had to be developed a little bit, but an advertisement model emerged pretty rapidly. With LLMs, there's not been any clear monetization structure that has been visualized. Obviously, there are a lot of applications of LLMs in companies that people pay money for. However, the model companies themselves are actually not making a whole bunch of money. So this is a very interesting problem because it also leads to a lack of investor funding. One of the biggest reasons that labs today have been so successful is because they've been able to raise billions of dollars in seed round money from investors who are confident that someday they're going to see a return on their investment. And this is actually a little bit debatable within investors right now, but many investors are not being willing to invest in new AI companies. And if foundational model companies went to raise more rounds, there's a high likelihood that they would not be able to raise as much. The reason is more investors are getting a little bit more concerned about the fact that there's a lot of interdependence in the AI industry in a way that they don't like. So if you'll take a look at, many of the graphs out there, you'll see that sometimes you'll see NVIDIA putting money into OpenAI. OpenAI will put money back into NVIDIA. AMD is in the picture. So money is being shuffled from company to company in a very interesting way. And that paradigm is oftentimes something that's seen in an ecosystem that's about to collapse. Additionally, one of the biggest concerns with the large language model profitability situation today is quite simply the fact that um, if you pay a $20 per month subscription, you're extracting a lot more from the model company in terms of cost. For instance, take me. I'm a user of Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT, most predominantly, right? I obviously use other stuff like Perplexity and Manus. Actually, if you would like to see a full video of my AI tech stack, just comment and I'd be totally happy to make that video. But let's just say for all intents and purposes, I have a $20 ChatGPT subscription. Now, let's say I fire off, I don't know, like 200 prompts in an especially ambitious day, right? Where I don't know, I'm vibe coding some project or something. So let's say I fire off 200 prompts, and that's much more money in one day than ChatGPT makes from me in a month. So as you can see, this doesn't make sense from a monetization perspective from subscription users, and also the majority of ChatGPT users are not even paying a subscription; they're free users. So it's actually a crazy paradigm where they're losing a lot of money and having to cut back into their round money in order to fund their model. So obviously, this is not scalable or sustainable. One of the biggest takes that I've seen online these days is people continually say that LLMs need to pick up an SaaS model, right? Software as a service model. And the three main models in software as a service boil down to per usage cost, subscription cost, and one of the most obvious paradigms in the previous web advertisement. So to some advertisement, web like web advertisement and all kinds of advertisement, having a subscription and then having per usage. So For per usage, obviously there are APIs, but those are predominantly used by developers. So one option that ChatGPT has is per prompt, it charges you some amount of money. However, this has not been fully implemented yet by the model companies. Another option is obviously subscription, which they've already tried and it's not working well because most of the people are taking the free side of the freemium. So existing SaaS models are a little bit challenging to implement. Oh, and also advertisement is a bit challenging to implement because um, there's a lot of regulation that's involved because the user is telling a lot of specific information to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can't control what information the user provides to it, right? So it's, for instance, it might provide information about like conditions that the user has that ChatGPT really shouldn't advertise on because that's unethical. So if there was some paradigm to select which data to use for advertisement and which data to not use for advertisement, maybe it would work, but it's an uphill battle from a regulatory perspective, and it also degrades user trust in LLMs. So to summarize, the three models that we've discussed may not necessarily work for large language models. So many of these model companies are in a fix. They're thinking about, hey, how do we actually make money off of these fantastic models I've made? One option is to go entirely enterprise, right? That's a very viable option, but the real scale factor is in consumer. So if they really want to scale up the amount of people using their product, they have to go for consumer. And obviously, some of the best enterprises in the world are like, consumer enterprises, right? Like Google, obviously, both have consumer and enterprise, but they started off as consumer enterprises. Facebook is a consumer enterprise. Amazon is a consumer enterprise. So if they want to scale to a really, really significant size, they need to have a strong consumer profile that doesn't degrade what they actually are making money off of. So now that we've discussed the fact that existing SaaS monetization paradigms are not necessarily going to work for large language models, there's a trend that I've analyzed that I would like to put out there. We are not in SaaS anymore. We're in SAAA, software as an agent. And specifically, LLMs and models specifically have this capability to proactively do things based on data. So the value add of a model is that it has unique data on you, and then based on that data, it can do stuff proactively for you. Obviously, that requires a little bit of configuration and making it programmatically able to do that. But that is the next paradigm, where the model uses data in an ethical way and builds proactivity. So, what that would look like is, let's say on your calendar, you have trip to Bali, and you're busy with school, you're busy with work, whatever you're doing. ChatGPT sees on your calendar, oh, you've got a trip to Bali, and preemptively finds you a plane ticket in business class because it knows that you usually travel business class. So it chooses a business class plane ticket with your favorite airline, semi books it, and then sends you a proactive ping. Hey, noticed you haven't booked your flight to Bali yet. Maybe you forgot about it. I've booked it for you business class with United, which is your favorite airline. And you are actually, all you have to do is click yes, and I'll book it, or you can just tell me yes, and I'll do it. Otherwise, obviously, if you have some other arrangement plan, then I just wanted to confirm. So that is the value add that AI has with productivity, with proactivity, and with data. So if that's the case, then we are going to see an entirely new type of cost model emerge, which is the best and most sustainable way to make money off of LLMs, specifically for model companies. So it's going to be very interesting to observe how this paradigm changes and improves in the future. But for now, I think the major AI labs have a big unanswered question, which is how are we going to make money? How are we going to ensure that we're sustainable, especially at the large consumer scaled version of things? I hope you enjoyed this episode of NeuroBridge. It's a fairly interesting topic, and if you enjoyed it, please leave some comments and let me know what you thought. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.